Hello, everybody. This is Bernie Stroum, and welcome to my YouTube channel for tonight's Diamonds and Dice baseball podcast with Beatles Eternally and yours truly, Bernie Strom. How you doing, Beatles?
Hey kids, how you doing? Hey Bernie, great to be here, man. Here we go again, huh?
Yeah, another month has passed. They go by pretty quick. I sure look forward to these shows we do. I'm particularly looking forward to this one because it's a subject that you came up with that you've touched on some of your uh, YouTube broadcasts that I found very interesting and informative on resources to spark your simulation projects. Uh,
Absolutely.
I use some of them myself, but I don't go as deep as you do. So I'm really looking forward to hearing what you have to say.
God only knows what I'm gonna say at this point. I think it'll be fun. I really think it'll be fun. So
Well, we decided to split this up, and uh, Beatles is going to discuss the digital resources that are available, and there's Jeff Hunter checking in. Hey, Jeff.
hey Jeff.
And I'm going to discuss the print or the books that are available, particularly since I've got such a, I think, large library of this stuff. It's so heavy I can't lift it. But
Hmm.
I'm going to go over some of the books I have, what I use them for. And a lot of them are skewed towards the Red Sox, but a lot of them are not. So it should be interesting. Hopefully, people will get some sort of an idea on what books are available and where to go out and find them.
Hey Jeff Ray's joining us here too. Hey Jeff, fellow Bucko fan.
Well, why don't you start off since this was your idea, uh, and tell us how this popped into your head?
All right. Hey Arnold, welcome in. Arnold Hunter joining us here. So hopefully we get a good little crowd tonight. So full disclosure, guys, I'm a research geek. I'm trained. I was trained in this, working for Penn State and stuff. So I used to teach people how to, like pre-law and law students, how to shepherdize cases, how to do all that stuff, do patent trademark research, all that. And I've always loved. I just have an insatiable, have to use a cliche, thirst for knowledge. And so I think about what we do as baseball gamers. We're going to try to. We really want to. We'll keep this focused on baseball, but you could apply this to the lesser sports as well. I think I honk people off when I say that. I don't mean to. Um, but I thought about like just resources that we have available, and as Bernie, says here on the tin here to spark your simulation projects. I thought we could get a fun sort of discussion going about again the resources are available and what resources do you consult? Do you consult? Are you aware that they're out there, both print and digital? And there will be some overlap, obviously. So that's the idea, and hopefully, maybe people will come away from this tonight. A takeaway will be that it's not just gaming focused, but that there are amazing ways to just gather incredible amounts of baseball knowledge and really just go deep into this game that we love so much because baseball did exist before 2025. So there we go. So Bernie and I, before we went on, we were talking about some print. So maybe hand this over to Bernie. So Bernie, I mean, I don't know how you want to go about this. I could ask you some questions, or you just want to talk about some of the books that you have consulted most, or whatever. And
Well,
guys, I'll say this, and I'll turn back over to Bernie because it's Bernie's channel here. Um, that eBay, you guys have heard me say it 10,000 times. I'll say it 10,000 times more. If you're looking for great baseball books, the big hernia-inducing baseball books, or what have you, eBay is incredible for it, and it will not break the bank. So,
well,
Bernie, how about some
that
cool?
that's where I bought most of these books. I'm
Yeah.
gonna tell you about. I'm gonna give you the titles, but I'm also going to tell you I bought every single one of these is available on eBay, and I purchased most of them there. I had some of them, but eBay is just is the number one resource for these old baseball books that are no longer published because the internet exists and
Hmm.
there's really no need for them. But
Right.
there once was a time when these books were the only places you could find these stats.
Absolutely. Fond memories of, for actually, so I remember the getting the, I was a little kid. Do you remember the baseball encyclopedia by Hy Turkin and S.C. Thompson? It was very stats limited, but it was the only thing that was around for a while, that I knew of. And then it was the Macmillan, right? Which I know you're going to be talking about these. My thing every year, though, was buying Total Baseball, because the first 900, almost 1,000 pages of that thing, stories and season recaps. It wasn't just the stats. And Bernie, that's a segue into the thing that you talked about the stories, the
Oh,
season.
yeah, I have a whole
Yeah.
list of books, mostly Red Sox oriented, because that's what I do uh,
I'm shocked, Bernie. I thought you were a Yankees fan.
most of
Oh
my
shit! I'm
stuff
going to
in.
get kicked off.
Anyway, why don't we start? We can go back and forth
Sure.
so we don't bore everybody. Let me go over the first maybe 10 or so books, and then we'll flip it over and you can do some digital stuff.
Yeah, I'll have to screen share when it's my turn, but
Oh,
cool.
that's fine. And then I can do another 10 or 15. But I mean, I pulled all these out of here. I'm sitting around 25 different volumes that I
Sweet,
used
sweet. Wish
to
I was at your house. I'd be like, yes, this is great.
hey, it's fun. Anyway, one of my favorites is the Sporting News First 100 Years, 1886 to 1986. This is a book that you can probably get for $3 or $4 on eBay. It was the copy written in 1985 by the Sporting News, and it's actual stories from those 100 years out of the Sporting News. And it not only shows the story, but it tells the story behind the story. For example, if I just open it up and just to a page, Trouble with Landis, the early years of Judge Kennesaw Mountain Landis' reign as commissioner. The Sporting News applauded his decisions. In time, however, the climate changed. And then it goes on and tells the problems baseball had with him. Uh, it's got a it has mostly it does this mostly in decades. 19 One of my favorites, the 1930 to 1939, and you read about it and you come up with ideas on what you want to do for replays. Anyway, that's book number one I want to tell you about, the Sporting News First 100 Years, 1886 to 1986. Now, if you don't think the Sporting News obviously uh, continued after 1985, and there's a second copy of this that goes from 1901 to 2000. I think that's when they stopped. But that's also from the archives of the Sporting News. All these books probably cost $5 or $6 on eBay.
And what's neat about the Sporting News is, even though it would eventually cover other sports, the Sporting News was really a baseball newspaper. It really was. I mean, you can, and if you're a Sabre member, you can access those archives for free. And its main focus up to the end was baseball.
What I just like doing is I like picking up the books, thumbing through them. The
Hmm.
next one I want to mention is Baseball and Illustrated History, Jeffrey Ward and Ken Burns.
Great book.
Uh, you can just pick this up, open it up to whatever part of it you want, read about it, and then go replay the season you just read about, or replay a series of teams. You don't have to play the whole season. It's just a fabulous book. That one's available, Baseball and Illustrated History, Jeffrey Ward and Ken Burns. Then, of course, there's the 100 Years of Major League Baseball. Who the hell did this one? I don't even know. Yeah, I'm gonna
I
open
love
it
it.
up. Publications International, David Nemec and Saul Wisnia, whoever the hell they
So
are.
David Nemec is. Let me just jump in here. This guy is a serious baseball historian, and he has written the definitive encyclopedia of the 19th century baseball. And if you're at all interested, it's a fantastic book. So I just wanted to mention him, a preeminent historian in baseball.
Anyway, it has some of the greatest articles in here. Tells you about teams you would never dream of reading about, particularly if you're a fan of one specific team. And if you want to learn about others, that is a great book. Then, of course, there's, I don't know, you're going to know who these people are. I don't. John Mehno, Mehno. Do you know who he is?
Yes, I do know that name too.
The Chronicle of Baseball, a century of major league action. All these books, by the
Jamie,
way, are 400 or 500 pages.
love it. The thicker, the better.
And this particular book goes season by season. And if you want to replay a season, you just open the book up, you read about the season, and then you load your favorite baseball sim, or you take out your favorite cards and dice game and play the season. You make these players come alive. Another one, baseball, more than 150 years. Let's find out who wrote this one, because I'm sure you know them all. I don't. Oh, this is another Nemec Saul Wisnia.
Yeah.
They expanded that one.
So Jamie says that he was in a draft league with David Nemec about 15 years ago. This guy is, you know what? While I can, we got to give some love here to Sports Gaming Journal, STJ Jamie, for what a great resource that is. But yeah, this guy, I'd love to just, I'd love to talk to him, talk to John Thorne. Oh my God, just amazing. Just amazing.
Yeah, we got to have Jamie on it. Jamie would be a great interview.
He'd be amazing.
Okay, as I keep going, and stop me whenever you want. Bert Solomon's Baseball Timeline, one of my favorite books.
Yes.
I don't know, it's 1,200 pages.
Proof that there's a God. That book is proof that there's a God.
And it goes date by date. And it's just fascinating. You want to learn about and get an idea about a project, that one would be good. Your favorite book, I got this because I learned it from you, the Biographical Encyclopedia from the editors of Total Baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Every prominent player in the history of baseball is in this book.
Oh, yeah, it's fantastic. Fantastic. I wanted to get back on the Bert Solomon book for the minute that you mentioned. So, guys, this is a big book. It's beautifully bound. It's a gorgeous book written by Bert Solomon. But what's fun about this book is you get a sense of what was happening in the world outside of baseball, which is really neat, right? But this is not a book that you're going to read. There's like 6 different ways to read the baseball timeline, and any way that you pick to do it, you are going to learn things about baseball you never knew. And as far as the season encapsulations, it's incredible. It's just an incredible book. I just wanted to give that one some extra love. And yeah, the biographical encyclopedia, that one is I should have that surgically attached to me. It's brilliant. Yeah.
One of my and before you go on to this is one I've had for years. This one I didn't get on eBay. I've owned this one for 30, 40 years. It's called Baseball Extra. It's the front pages of sports pages throughout 100 years of baseball history.
Yep.
And you can read what was actually written the day it happened. I open it up to this page, October 6, 1961. Yanks win 7-0. Seek the title today. Ford smashes Roost Series 0 record. And there's the article right there. You can read it just as they wrote, just as someone had read it back in 1961. There's the page where Roger Maris hit his 61st home run. Oh, and here's one you'd like, Beatles. Pirates take it all on Mazeroski's home run.
That's
the
right.
Front page of the New York Post, Thursday, October 13th, 1960.
Oh, absolutely,
Or the
absolutely.
Pittsburgh Press the same day. Pirates world champs.
Hmm.
Bucks win 10-9 on a homer by Mazeroski. And you can read the I
And
don't know.
that's a big book. It's the size of a newspaper.
Yeah, it is. It's
It's it's
gigantic.
it's awesome. Yeah.
Do you
So to
have this
read,
one?
I do. Oh my God, I love that book. I love it. I love it. You, I don't have to go to the gym, guys. I just pull off baseball books from the shelf. I don't think my print library is quite as large as Bernie's, but I've got a lot of the books that he's mentioned, and they're fantastic.
Well, anyway, those are some of the books that I get some of the ideas from. Of course, mostly my ideas come from what I witnessed in real life, watching the Red Sox screw up their entire seasons, and me trying to fix them on a computer. But neither here nor there. What are some of the digital sources that you use?
All right, I'm gonna have to share screen, if you don't mind.
Not
Boom.
at all.
All right, let me share screen because we'll show you guys a couple different things. Let's do this one and share, and that should hopefully pop up, I guess, once Bernie adds it.
I got to get over to the thing here, and
You got to get to Control Central, Mr. Sulu,
you
laying a
bet.
course. So while Bernie's doing this, again, it's really kind of a sneaky way to kind of get people interested. Oh, hey, there we go. We're looking into infinity. Um, to
Okay, why did
hopefully,
I add that? Let me see what I got here.
I don't think you did. So I'm there, but not there. Does that make
I'm
sense?
hitting add to the stage.
Okay. Hmm.
Why isn't it adding to the stage?
I don't know. I
Before
don't
presenting
know.
a screen, remove other media streams from stage.
Oh, do you have? Well, you don't have anything that you're sharing though.
No,
Oh, yes, you are. So I think it's show your the graphic.
I got you.
I think that's what's going on.
How's that?
Okay, let me try to. There
There
we
you
go.
go.
There we go. All right, guys. So the first thing, I'm going to touch on some free resources, and this one is amazing, and it is the Internet Archive. And I would suggest, you know what, make an account on there, and every once in a while, throw $5 or $10 their way. They're so thankful. I could do. I've been thinking some night of just doing a broadcast, just not only about baseball, but about the Internet Archive and the resources that are available on this thing for just about anything you can imagine. So what you're seeing on your screen right now is an archive of something that, if you've been a long time baseball fan or whatever, you know this book, the Street and Smith's Baseball Yearbook. This was, as Bernie and I were talking before we came on the show tonight, Bernie said, I knew that baseball was near. It was spring training when Street and Smiths came out, and this was great. So you want to you really want to pepper up your, get more deep into the season that you're about to replay and things like that. Baseball Digest is incredible, or not the Baseball Digest. We're going to get to that, but I'm going to just pull up. Let's look at 1966 here, because why not? And they always did two yearbooks. I believe what was like one was more East Coast, or like I don't know if it was East Coast, West Coast, whatever. But I'm just going to pull up 1966 because everybody knows 2025, and this isn't published anymore anyhow, sadly. Okay, so there we go. Complete up to date. You got club roster schedules, averages, right? Even you got minor league stuff. So a lot of guys are doing some good things. So I'm going to make this. We'll do this one page so you can see this a little better. Okay, so there we go. There's Ron Swoboda, New York Mets. There he is. There he is. And of course, you're going to get great. There's all these baseball games and stuff in here too. Things I've never heard of, like. And if Ken Castro was around, I guess he's Dave Gardner. Hey, welcome in, Dave. Good to see you. I don't know what this game is. It was called Major League Baseball. Bernie, you're the board game expert. Have you ever heard of this game? That you see in the
Yes,
streets? It's
the
Nagamco.
Gemco. It's
Yeah,
around in the 1960s.
$4.79. Can you believe it? God. So, and then there's ads and everything like that. But I mean, what's really, really cool is it would have like roundups of the National and American League. It would have nice feature articles and stuff like that. You had complete rosters for everybody. Midlife Crisis. Hey, man, there you go. Good to see Midlife Crisis joining us tonight. So this is free. And there's the High Turk and SC Thompson. This predates the other baseball encyclopedias. Um, and it wasn't statistically deep, but until Macmillan came along, this was kind of the baseball encyclopedia. It was only like 700 pages or so. And I say only because that's small for a baseball encyclopedia. Tim, Clee baseball fan, 879, joining us. So this would be something, and this you get to have fun, look at the ads, whatever. But this is really, really super. This is a great resource. I don't care if you're playing digital baseball, or you're playing cards and dice. You play both. You're in that time, and you're reading a primary source. So unlike things like, and they're great, and we'll talk about them for a little bit. Baseball Reference and Baseball Almanac, which nobody seems to use Baseball Almanac, and it's a fantastic site. Complements Baseball Reference very well, but those are not primary resources. Things like this are, and so a lot of what I want to talk about are these primary resources, right? So it would have preseason predictions. So here we are. What did I pick? 1966, I guess. Whatever. So if you wanted to, you could say, oh, they were predicting the Cincinnati Reds to finish third. I think I'm gonna do 1966, and I'm gonna see if I can take the Reds all the way, or whatever. But you have so much background, and again, just looking. Because I know a lot of people maybe don't like looking at things on their PC or whatever. I mean, if you got a good sized tablet, there you go. Because to find these things now, if you could find like a complete run of them, it's going to be difficult. But this is just filled with baseball goodness. But we're not done with the Internet Archive. No, 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 no. So for some of us, we like to go back a little further than stuff like that. So if you're like Ken, or Bernie, or me, or Clinton, I'm going to show you something really cool. And this is awesome. I don't know if it's going to take baseball as one word or two word. You'll see what I mean in a minute. And you want to talk about primary resources. Here you go. All right. So we're going to open this one up. This is 1908. This is Spalding's official, and of course it was spelled baseball back in the day, as you guys know. And if you didn't, you know now. So there he is, A.G. Spalding, and let's make him bigger, because any man that had a gong in his box seat at the ballpark, this guy was one of the original mega owners. But this thing, again, so for people that want to look at primary resources, as Bernie talked about in that the baseball, right, the baseball extra, using images of the same things you're happening here. So this is the thing. There's Henry Chadwick. There he is.
You
Um,
know,
s-
when
Go
you
ahead, Bernie,
read
please.
when you read these things and you read
Hmm.
about seasons, players, events, and you read about them before you play them,
Hmm.
if you haven't experienced them in personally, it just brings the replay or the game you're playing. It just brings it to life. Like,
Oh,
it's
absolutely.
unbelievable the difference between reading about it and playing, or just playing it.
Exactly. And for me, I mean, though I don't do a lot of strict season replays like a lot of people, I love these things. Cutter Historical, he says, I don't think any baseball yearbooks have that feel anymore. No, they don't, Cutter. I would absolutely agree with you. And I think that I love the internet. I love the fact that we have basically the accumulated knowledge of humanity. We can consult it on our phones if we want to. But there was just, I think, something about these things, and you'll see more. that you don't have anymore. So you have all these great wonderful articles, and I'm not going to, I just want to kind of find little bits of interesting things. So there you go. I mean, you have like these were like little encyclopedias in themselves, right? The role of overrunning first base. I was looking at one last week from 1921 and really got deep into. It was neat to read this primary resource, not only about what happened with the Black Sox scandal and, of course, Landis doing his bit, but also the focus, right, from reading something here from 1908 and then reading a Spalding's baseball guide from 1921. All of a sudden, now they're talking about home runs and they're talking about Babe Ruth. And, when you let yourself go back to this is Spalding didn't mess around. This is 408 pages. 408 pages, and these were published every year by Albert Goodwill Spalding. You'll get down here and you'll get club, sort of like club profiles and stuff. It covered the minor leagues. So there you go. Of course, John Montgomery Ward's opinion as to the origin of baseball. So you got to remember in 1908, this was right before that specious kind of thing that came out in 1909. You guys have all seen the Ken Burns documentary about the origins of baseball and that it started in 1839 in Cooperstown, which is, of course, horseshit. That's not what happened. Hey, Mike Silva, great to see you. If you want to read a good book, by the way, since we're also talking about print, if you want to read a great book on the origins of baseball, John Thorne, who's the official historian of Major League Baseball, it's a book called Baseball in the Garden of Eden. And after you read that book, you will come away with like, wow. Baseball's beginnings are very complicated. He does make the case for a few people, no spoilers, of who may have been the quote unquote fathers of baseball. All right.
You mean it wasn't Abner Doubleday?
It was not, as a matter of fact. In fact, evidence suggests that the summer that baseball was supposedly invented in Cooperstown, he was at West Point and may have never seen a professional baseball game. The only evidence that was ever given, and this was in 1909, so this Spalding's baseball guide, where John Montgomery Ward Hall of Famer is talking about the origins of baseball, there was this big commission to find out the origins of baseball. But here's the politics behind it, if you will. The exercise wasn't merely academic; it was political, very, very political, because there were, of course, as you guys know, the outcries that, well, baseball, right, it's just that old game of rounders, right? And it's, of course, and it is descendant from rounders and cricket. There's no, it's an evolution of those games. But the thing is you're talking about, this was the progressive era in America, but not in the way the term we use today, progressive, so much, and Cutter Historical would know this too, but rather there was this sense of, it was almost an American isolationism, because America was dealing with massive waves of immigrants by this point from, people coming in from southern Italy. The Irish had already been there, but now southern Italy's coming in and Eastern Europe is starting to come in and things like that. And so basically, and if you read baseball, that book, Baseball in the Garden of Eden, John Thorne talks about how it was almost, they had to, it wasn't only they wanted to prove that baseball originated here and it was a purely American sport and had nothing to do with cricket or rounders or anything like that, but it was because remember, this was also the time from the mid 19th century into the early 20th century that you had groups like the Wide Awakes, the Know Nothings, who were anti-immigrant. So real capsule on that is just watch the movie Gangs of New York and you get a sense. And that was the prevailing sense of this sort of, I would say, quasi-historical research. So the Cooperstown thing came along because there was this old dude named Abner Graves who said, yep, I was there at Cooperstown when Abner Doubleday, on the spot, invented baseball. Abner Graves ended up like in an insane asylum or something, and the dude was like 90 years old or something, but said he was there in 1839. So that's how the whole Coopers thing started. But baseball's beginnings are pretty crazy.
I curious
Go
about
ahead.
something.
Yeah, sure.
Uh,
Professor Beatles. Not quite, Mike.
Whoever we have listening, I don't know who's out there, but I'm
Hmm.
curious. Do most people do replays of series or games in what in seasons they remember seeing themselves, or
That's a good
do people
question.
like going back and playing seasons prior to their existence, the 1920s, 30s, 40s, 50s, so to speak, games and seasons and series and things that occurred then, because that's what this stuff is all about, learning about what you're playing. You're just not playing a game when you're investigating a season from 1936 that you haven't witnessed. uh, you read the history before you play the game. It makes the replay or the series much more interesting, I think. I was
So,
wondering if anybody else has the same thoughts.
yeah, I think that's a great question. So when you guys decide to do a replay, what sorts of criteria, do if any? Boy, and if you search baseball, you get a lot of Sports Illustrated swimsuit models, but we won't worry about that. Um, Play around while we're waiting for some answers, guys. Jump into the Internet Archive. It's absolutely incredible, and you can quote unquote borrow books from here. It doesn't cost anything. There's a lot. Sport Magazine is in here, if you guys remember that. There's all kinds of incredible resources. Jamie says, so reading about past season often makes me want to replay it. Nice. Okay, so there's one. So you're like, oh wow, this. So that happened, Jamie, with me with 1949. Because I'm reading, I'm like, wow, you had really these great pennant races in both leagues, and so I have a 1949 replay that I'm doing offline. I occasionally pop it on the channel, and I'm following the Dodgers, Cardinals, Red Sox, Indians, and of course Yankees in that replay. And it's been so much fun. And I've found that I'm so when you take that research into it, now you're playing out the game. It's like for me, it's like okay, now I'm so immersed in this, and is this playing out believably? And thus far, it is.
I don't know if
Um,
Dave Gardner's still on here, but when he did
Mr. Shot is here.
those spiders, what, the 1899 spiders, because they won so few games. Is that
Yeah,
am I remembering that correctly?
yeah.
I couldn't wait to get and read about the team in real life because it made watching his replay much more interesting, I think,
Oh,
than just watching the
absolutely.
replay.
Absolutely. So maybe a quick yes or no. I mean, do most of you guys do most of you guys do replays with seasons that you're familiar with? So there's Sport Magazine. There we go. So um, lots of fun stuff. So just kind of curious. Yeah, Dave Gardner popped in for a little bit. Mr. Shot, it's good to see you. It is good to see you. So here we'll bring up a issue of Sport Magazine. Again, guys, this is all free. So look at this. There's Sparky Lyle and Goose Gossage right there on the cover of Sport Magazine. And again, you can just page through this thing and not only look at the fun ads, but what a great resource these are. But we're going to go on with some more because I don't want to take this up, and I do want to put it back to Bernie too for some more print because there's a lot of great print resources that he's mentioned. But I think like reading these, even if you know a lot about Sparky Lyle and Goose Gossage, I guarantee you that reading these primary sources, you're going to find lots of things that you just, wow, this is cool. And maybe you're doing, a 1976 or a 78 replay, two of the usual suspects and whatever, and how much even a season that you may think about, how much this can enhance your replay, I think is really, really cool. Um, Midlife Crisis telling us that Infinite Inning podcast is terrific for such inspiration. Awesome. So Buckshot says he likes seasons where there were some really tight races to see what might chat. So again, yeah, 1949, 1908. God, there's so many great seasons out there. Just begging for you to play. So, Bernie, I'm going to show one more resource and switch it back over to you, and we'll go back and forth, like you said. Like this next one, guys, is a paid resource, but it is such a bargain for $38 a year. It's all this costs. And if you, so the two things I think that you waited for, three things was sporting news, the Street and Smith's yearbook, and this bad boy right here, none other than Baseball Digest. This is like, I mean, Bernie, would I be overstating? This was kind of like the weekly scripture, if you will, or the monthly scripture. Baseball
Came out once a
Digest.
month. I couldn't wait to
Yep.
get it.
Oh my God, right? So, guys, this has every issue. It's $38 a year. Every issue of Baseball Digest going back to 1942. It's inaugural. And you're going to find things in here that you're not going to find in baseball encyclopedias. You're not going to find them on Baseball Reference, Baseball Almanac. You're not going to find them anywhere. Again, primary sources. So if I just, I don't know, let's make my internet browser really upset, and let's go back down here.
I got to interrupt. Mike Silver
Yeah,
says
please.
I like the 1980s because of nostalgia.
Okay, good.
That he says that, but when I think of the 1980s, I thought that was played yesterday.
Interesting perspective.
My concept, nostalgia doesn't go back to me to the first decade I would consider nostalgic would be the 1950s.
Pretty cool. So if we look here, let's take 1986 because I know that Mike had done a 1986 replay. So Baseball Digest would have, of course, their annual guide. That was the first thing that came out every year. And then you would have just the issues, right? So let's look at this just really, really quickly. So we're in 1986. There's Johnny Ray, Pittsburgh Pirate. So you can, of course, full screen this guy and, zoom in, whatever you want. Oh, it's a great picture there, by the way. So again, you had roster, schedules, statistics.
You could
There's
block
the
the plate in 1986.
Yeah, back when they played real baseball. How about it? So there were the 1985 team and individual averages. Baseball quizzes here. Off-season player trades. I know a lot of guys that do baseball season, strict season replays. Would love something like this. So it's all here for you. And there's all the ballpark diagrams. I don't know how many times people have asked on here, what are the dimensions of such and such a park. So many ways to find that information. But everything you want to know about 1986, stats.
In 1986, this was the only place to get it. You couldn't get online.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is just so brilliant. And I mean, it always mixed a lot of history into it. As well. So Bernie, I've been rabbiting on about this. I'm going to rabbit on some more, but I'm going to turn it back over to you, brother, for some more print.
Well, there's only a couple of other things I can add. Being the Red Sox person that I am, my library's full of Red Sox books that talk about seasons. And as I go over them, there's some really good books. For those people who may not like Red Sox books, I'm going to give you an idea at the end on how to put your own collection together if you don't know already. There's a book, Glenn Stout, Fenway, 1912, The Birth of a Ballpark. When I did my 1912 replay, I read this book, and it just brought it all to life. And then there is one I'm doing now. There's a book, David Kaiser, The Epic Season, the 1948 American League Pennant Race. Great book. I read that before I started this season. All sorts of other more modern books. The Boys of October, 1975, tells all about Doug Hornig wrote that book. That tells all about that season. Lost Summer, the 1967 Red Sox Impossible Dream by Bill Reynolds, another great book. Also in 67, Down to the Wire by Jeff Miller. The thrilling inside story of the greatest pennant chase. These are all obviously great replays to do.
Oh, yeah.
This is This is a book I didn't even know I had. This is one I haven't read yet, but I'm planning on it for one of my next replays next season. Baseball's First World Series, Autumn Glory by Lewis Mazer. So I am going to replay that first American League pennant season of the Red Sox.
Oh, that's so cool.
And of course,
Love it. Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, please.
Then, of course, we've got the real modern ones, Reversing the Curse, about 2004.
Yeah.
And so on and so forth. But what I did was when I went through my library, I said, well, I only have Red Sox books. I don't have books about other teams. I went on ChatGPT and just asked ChatGPT the following question. List 10 books about in the history of the Cleveland Indians seasons with their closest pennant races. And it gives you the books. So no matter what team you follow, you can get a list of the books from any AI source, whether it be ChatGPT or Copilot or something like that. And I'm telling you, reading those books really enhanced, in my opinion, playing the games. Just playing the games are fun if you like the games, but learning the history and the story behind the players you're looking at makes it more exciting. Anyway, now you know everything I know about print.
Well, and the thing is too, I mean, just to stay with print, so there's some great books out there, guys, too, written about seasons, right? So you had The Boys of Summer, great one. You had Crazy '08. You had Where They Ain't. You had If I Never Get Back. If I Never Get Back, it's about the 1869 Red Stockings. There's so many great books on seasons to dive into. And I realize that not a lot of people have time to, like, and it's not like, oh my God, I've got to read these books before I go into a replay. But I think it's interesting to kind of get, if you want to go deep, and it's especially maybe it's a season that you love. And it's like, okay, I want to really, really find out some of the nitty gritty that I'm not going to find in a. So you take. I'm looking at the last published copy over here of Total Baseball, and it's huge. It's almost 3,000 pages. Bernie mentioned off air that both of us, we have the all-time Major League Baseball source book and the all-time Major League Baseball handbook. Those things will give you a hernia. They dwarf Total Baseball, just to give you an idea. But they're incredible books. In fact, I remember you have to use a magnifying glass. Even if you got 20/20 vision, you got to use a magnifying glass for the all-time Major League handbook. Obviously, Baseball Reference, great site. Baseball Almanac, great site. But everybody knows those too. So the next one that I do want to show you guys, just for a couple minutes, and the next one is going to be also free. And I've talked about this before, and I think this site is absolutely incredible. So this is Back to Baseball, and you can so many interesting ways to relive or to investigate seasons here and stuff like that. So it's everything that's current, but it goes all the way back. So if we go to games, you can look at details of games, or actually just listen to them play out from using this terrible Microsoft narrator, but still you can just get. So we picked here, Bernie's been talking about 1912. Let's go to 1912. And I don't know, I'm not even going to worry about, we can see here who played that day. So how did the Red Sox do where are we here? On August 21st, 1912. So you get all the information about the game and everything that happened. You can even just view any specific play if you want to, and it will play out, which is really, really cool. But this also has things like player milestones in it for each season. It's got comprehensive stats. This is where I first learned that Jimmy Fox was in the majors for 2 years before he hit his first home run. And when he retired, he was second only to Babe Ruth in home runs. So think about that. Two seasons in the majors to Jimmy Fox homered, one of the most fearsome hitters ever. But like, if we wanted to look at this game here from August 21st, 1912, I could do a visual play-by-play, and it will do it, or text play-by-play. If you just want to look at the box score, you want to look at lineups and summary. A lot of guys really, really like the lineups and stuff like that. So these were the actual as-played lineups. And I think these would be interesting for guys that play cards and dice, because obviously games like Action PC and Out of the Park Baseball, to name just a couple, and also Pocket Pennant Run, and I think Digital Diamond use as played lineups. But if you're doing a season replay with cards and dice, this is something that's a great resource if you want to, along with, of course, Baseball Reference. Great stuff. Baseball Magazine from the early 20s has incredible covers. Yeah, I was going to show some of those. Actually, Legend Sports Universe. He says, good evening. Good evening to Legend Sports Universe. Good evening, buddy. Baseball America, SG Jamie and Todd B talking about that. I loved Baseball America because that was a great way to learn about the farm systems of each team, too. Who was coming up? So Baseball America really covered that in collegiate baseball. So you wanted to see who was coming up in your organization. Loved it. Very unique. John DFW joining us here, Bernie Stroum's channel. Okay, the next one that we're going to do, and I can't show everything, but back to baseball, guys. Jump into this thing. This is incredible. So I'm just trying to find a kind of a fun play here, just so you can see what it looks like. So Harry Hooper hits the ball on the ground for an out. Nah, we don't care about that. But you could just go through here. It's ball on the ground without an subscription. Ball moves to third. But I'll just pick one. So you can go to this. There you go, and you can see. Just look at the play, whatever. Kind of cool, and it will keep playing from that point on. And you can kind of just watch a game. The games take like 5 minutes. So if you want to see actual as played games, quote unquote, here they are, and it even breaks down for everybody. Here's Larry Gardner's season stats. Then it switches to Clyde Engel, and you can see just a running score here and inning and everything like that you're on. So it's a great one. You can go here, look at teams, and just have fun. Even all the teams that are gone, like the Houston Colt 45, Seattle Pilots, whatever. If we go to Seattle Pilots, they're 1 year, 1969. So there's their complete 19, and you can do this with every team. So there's the Seattle Pilots, who would become, of course, the Milwaukee Brewers, as you guys know. So there it is. So fun site. Fun site. All right, next one. Now we're going to get into something else that's paid, but it's really cheap, and that's Sabre. And I'm already logged in. So Sabre's research collection is beyond insane. Beyond insane. The Sabre Rucker Archive. These are literally tens of thousands of baseball images from 19th century to current. The Baseball Research Journal. So they have two. They have the National Pastime, but the Baseball Research Journal, that's kind of their academic journal, which is it's very good reading. But the National Pastime is incredible. I want to show you guys this with National Pastime, because I think this would be really nice for again, season replays. So this issue of National Pastime, for instance, is devoted to mainly stories of Pittsburgh baseball. Here's New York over here. There's baseball in the space age. All kinds of fun stuff that you could get ideas maybe for a replay that you never thought you would do. Jamie mentioned earlier, right, that he likes to do, if he'll read about a season. So again, going to something like this, and remember that Sabre, I mean, this is just such a I mean, it's the shizzle, as Snoop Dogg would say. So look at this incredible amount of stuff that you can look at here, and there's so much more. Sabre is cheap. So here's one: Sabre articles and memorable baseball games. So you guys know, once the next edition of Pocket Pennant Run comes out, I want to get ideas for just games that we could replay. Well, if not, a lot of people aren't ready to do that, um, look at this. Just all-star games, no hitters. Browse the games project, right? So maybe you want to look at Federal League games, for instance. So look at this. So in a game like Pocket Pennant Run Baseball, where you don't have to load a season to play a game, this is a great resource. But you can see here, there's a lot of stuff here from 1914. Maybe you're a Braves fan and you want to redo the Miracle Braves, but you want to find out what was going on, or you want to play. Uh, again, we're looking at the Federal League, but you can do this for so many years in baseball. So just great stuff here. Negro leagues. So all kinds of Negro League stuff. And again, this is possible in Pocket Pennant Run. So you could say, okay, so Chicago American Giants in a historic season with loss to Jack Quinn led normals, right? So you could put this in October 31st, 1920. But let's say you're doing a 1920, and that was a great season to replay, by the way. Great season, especially the American League, because Cleveland and Chicago White Sox going down the line right to the end in that one. So a year after the right? This is when the Black Sox scandal breaks, is 1920. So just knowing sort of what was going on at the time, even if you're not playing Negro League baseball, it would be kind of neat to just, again, to spice that up and give a little love here really quickly to baseball demos. So he's doing a really cool thing where he's doing pitch by pitch broadcasts tonight. So I listened to it last night while I was practicing some sleight of hand. And it was a good game, and he actually even included radio commercials from the time, and it was super immersive. So there's that. So much here. God, I could go on forever, but I'm not going to. I hope that maybe you guys will find some fun resources. Look into the resources that you have, because there's tons. There's absolutely tons. You can postseason here on Saber. I forget how much it costs, but Saber is really inexpensive. And I know that you guys are seeing just like old baseball, but it goes further on into history. And sometimes you might just find something where you're reading about maybe an event that happened in a past season. You're like, you know what? This looks really cool. I think I'm gonna I think I'm gonna play this season just to see if this happens. You know. So Bernie, I mean, I don't know what else you have to add
No,
here.
I think that I think lots of people that listen to us know about some of these things, but uh, I just
There
think
you go,
that
new baseball. There you go, guys. So there.
there you go. Where what I see a lot when I flip around YouTube are more modern seasons than these older seasons, and
Right.
I think more of these older seasons would be played if people knew about them and picked up a few of these resources and did some reading about them.
Oh
I
yeah.
think they would get. I find them anyway. I find them interesting, and I
Hmm.
really like the characters involved
Oh
because
yeah.
the players and the personalities and the stuff they used to do. This was particularly around the turn of the century. These are a lot of tough guys,
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
and they did some really tough stuff for the base for the lack of saying it any other way.
Oh, they
And
absolutely did.
and knowing who these players were instead of just recognizing their names as they're on the screen,
Hmm.
uh, uh, I think uh, I think make for a much more pleasant gaming experience. Anyway,
There you go, Bernie.
I
This
know
was by accident.
Beatles that this is the part of the show that you hate the most, but I'm going to tell you, you got 5 minutes to go, and then our hour's up.
All right, buddy. So look at this guy. Who's this guy? So Athlon Baseball. This was another one. I don't think it had quite the recognition. Street and Smith was like the big thing in Baseball Diamond or Baseball Digest, but this was a good magazine. And again, now we're back on the Internet Archive again because
Wasn't
let's
there
say
a Lindy's?
I believe there is. I would have to search. Um, but again, so looking at athletes, so we're talking about this guy named Roger Clemens from this Bush League club called the Red Sox. I know Bernie's going to kick me off the channel here in a second, so
No, you not in a second. You got 5 minutes.
I got 5 minutes. So just great. I really would suggest. So look, I mean, again, you had team by team breakdowns. So we're looking at 1992. And as a Pirate fan, 1992 intensely interests me. So, this might be something that if I wanted to dive more deeply, there's Kirby, if I wanted to dive more deeply into 1992 and really do a concerted effort, and I love the old ads too, this would be great. So, I don't know if you guys are aware of these. If you don't want to spend any money, the Internet Archive has an incredible amount of stuff back to baseball, gets super deep. But again, Baseball Digest for $38 a year, and then Saber's even less per year. So I guess that's it. I mean, I hope that the takeaway from this isn't going to be just about gaming, but about deepening, finding your thing in baseball. This is what I want to get more deeply into it. And again, I want to give a little bit of love here to STJ Jamie. Legend says if you like doing what I do, he says, yeah, bringing guys across eras onto the same plane. Clay Davenport, yes, translations, those are great. Legends, I'm glad you brought that up. That was that's something that could be because there are a lot of cross era players. Legends, you and I are, I think we probably do more of that than anybody else. Todd B has a good cross era league going. But thank you for mentioning that Clay Davenport. That's incredible. And of course, the major league equivalencies as well. So really nice for you want to bring in Negro leaguers in. Last one I want to mention, Bernie, before I run, the most obvious one that a lot of you have in your library is Out of the Park Baseball. It's all there. And you guys have seen me do that Myths League. It's basically Baseball Reference is right in that game. You don't even have to leave the game to research. It's there. So that's all from me. There's a bill. I could go 9 more hours, but
Well, listen.
me.
Everybody loves listening to you, Beatles.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
Oh, yes, they do.
No, they
Anyway,
don't. Ask my ex.
I want to thank you for all your expertise tonight. I certainly learned something. I want to thank everybody that stopped by. Legends, John DFW, Todd B, Midlife Crisis, Mike Silva, Tim, Cleve Baseball Fan, SGJ Jamie, Buckshot, BBN Sports Replays. Who am I missing? Cutter Historical.
Yeah, that was cool to see.
Dave
Cutter
Gardner
Historical
was even here. That's always fun. Arnold Hunter. And Jeff Ray, and the first one in the ballpark, as you say, is Jeff Hunter. Anyway, I want to thank everybody for coming by. Beatles and I will put our heads together sometime in the next couple of weeks and come up with a show for September. And I hope you guys continue to listen. That will be on Beatles YouTube channel. Thanks everybody for coming by. Have a nice evening.
September, guys. Yep.